Okay, the note sheet I've given you, the quadratic formula, it's basically how to find the answers to this equation in this structure. So the first key is the formula itself was created from an equation written exactly like that. So it is a very important, very first step. The equation has to look like that. The x squared thing, followed by the x thing, followed by the constant equal to 0. And the formula itself tells you that x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, where a, b, and c are the numerical values in the problem. So there's no x's over on this side, there's just numbers over on this side. And what I've done here was I've broken the formula into 3 distinct pieces. The first piece is right here, so that's what step 2 is, to find the opposite of b. So whatever number b is, you change its sign, that's all that thing is. Underneath the square root symbol, we have the square root of b squared minus 4ac. That's what you do next. You find b squared minus 4ac. That goes underneath the square root symbol. And then finally, on the bottom, there's a 2 times a. You find 2 times a. Whatever a is, you double it. Of the 3 things you have to find here, changing a sign and doubling a number are very simple. B squared minus 4ac is a little bit more challenging. So step 3 tends to be the one that you really have to write down. Steps 2 and 4 can kind of be done in your head. Once you've found all 3 of these things, you write the answer. So you create this structure, you write the answer. So that's what we're going to do. So look at example 1. Use the quadratic formula to determine the roots of the equation 3x squared plus 2x minus 7 equals 0. Now, first thing I'm going to bring to your attention here, if you did want to do what we did yesterday, completing the square, there is a number in front of x squared, which makes the completing the square technique we did yesterday not workable. We'd have to do one extra step. We haven't learned how to do that yet. So for this one specifically, the quadratic formula would have to be used as of right now. Step 1 of the quadratic formula, again, requires us to get this structure. X squared object plus x object plus constant equals 0. That's job 1 every single time. If it already starts off like that, that's just a little bit of a bonus. If I identify the values of a, b, and c, a is positive 3, b is positive 2, and c is negative 7. Okay. The structure we have is ax squared plus bx plus c. Pluses mean whatever sign's in the problem is the sign you're going to use. So 3 is positive, 2 is positive, 7 is negative. And step 2 says find minus b. All I got to do to find minus b is find positive b. B is positive 2, minus b is change the sign, negative 2. Step 3, we want to evaluate b squared minus 4ac. 4 is just a magical 4 that's there. B squared is squaring a variable, or squaring a value 2 in this case. 4 times a times c is a product. Okay? B is equal to 2. 2 squared is equal to 4. B squared is always positive. Be careful that even if b was negative 2, b squared would still be positive 4. So when you square a letter, the outcome's positive every time. So what I do is I just square what b is, and then I write minus 4 times whatever a and c are, and a is 3 and c is negative 7. Okay? This product must be done before the addition or subtraction happens. And what happens quite often with this product, it is always subtraction in the formula, but if you subtract a negative, you're going to end up getting a positive. That's what happens here. So negative 4 times negative 7 is positive 28 times 3 is positive 84. And 4 plus 84 is 88. Okay, and again, that represents the lengthiest step in the process. The next thing on your list of things to do is to find out what 2a is equal to. All you have to do to find 2a is find out what a is and double it. A is equal to 3, we double it, we get 6. And once we find those 3 specific values, step 5 says to write the answer. X equals, and this is the structure of the answer. That's the quadratic formula. Something plus or minus the square root of something over something. And the somethings are, negative b goes right here. B squared minus 4ac goes inside the radical, and 2a goes on the bottom. That is the correct answers to the problem, and I did say answers because there's plus or minus, there's 2 answers there. The one last step I'd expect everybody to do, because we've dealt with this already this year, if I look at 88, 88 is 8 times 11, right? And that's 2 times 2 times 2 times 11 if I break it down completely. pair of 2's gets to come out as a 2, so we get 2 times the square root of 22. That's better than the square root of 88. And then the final thing I'd expect you to look for, because this happens quite often in these problems, look at the 3 numbers that aren't inside the radical once you've reduced this radical out like this. If all 3 of those numbers divide by the same number, you can and should reduce. And we're dividing everything by 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, has to be written. This 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1 times the square root of 2, which is 22, which is the same as the square root of 22. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. That would be the answers I would expect you to get to when you use the quadratic formula.